Happy Friday, guys. Welcome in here to Puck Time. I am Andrew McGinnis, and I have Carmine Bianco and Andy Lang with me. We've got 3 games plus best bets and the 6 in 60 segment at the end of the show. We also have Connor Bedard traveling to New Jersey to take on Jack Hughes and his brother and the rest of the Devils. We have the Hurricanes and Capitals and the nightcap with the Winnipeg Jets taking on the struggling Anaheim Ducks. Let's kick things off right away with Mr. Bianco with the Blackhawks and Devils. Carm, can't get any worse for the Blackhawks after they were pretty big underdogs yesterday at MSG. I believe the number was like close to minus 500 on the Rangers. That number proved to be pretty accurate. Do you believe this Blackhawks team can respond, or they're in for another tough night?
I think they're in for another tough night. This is the last of a 5-game road trip for this team, and I think they're just ready to go home. I think they're ready to go home before that. This is actually a play that I like in this game that I have up on the WagerTalk site. It's not only a client play for two; it's just a 2% play just because of the vig on this one, but it's also a free play on the website, and it's just to take the Chicago team total under. This is a team that I think they just want to get home. This has been a long road trip for them. You look at their last 3 games, a goal last night in New York. Prior to that, they get shut out in Nashville. The game prior to that, they get absolutely annihilated by the Dallas Stars, 8-1. They're just not scoring goals, and you could see it last night. They struggled. I had the Rangers on the puck line. I didn't mind actually laying the $1.40, $1.45 on the puck line because I figured the Rangers would come out after that 6-1 embarrassment at home to the Carolina Hurricanes and would likely lay a beating on them. Now 4-1 is not a beating, but this is just a team that's struggling right now. The Devils beat them 4-2 back in November, and the Devils are the Devils. They're always going to allow some goals, but at some point they're going to start to put it together. This New Jersey team, and they have won 4 of their last 5 games. So with that said, I just think Chicago's ready to go home, and they've got a home trip coming up. I'm taking under the total here. I don't see Chicago getting to 3 goals in this one, especially given they haven't scored 3 goals in their last 3 games combined. So give me the Blackhawks team total under 2.5, and I'll toss it over to Andy for his thoughts on this game.
Yeah, Carmine, you pretty much covered all the bases. I would also add that, I don't think Chicago's schedule lightens up, at all. They get this back-to-back. It's all right. Then they're off Saturday. And then who do they get? Calgary, who's won 3 in a row, and who all of a sudden, is starting to hold teams under goals and starting to score more. And then they get a day off, and who they get? Edmonton, who's just ripped off a bunch of wins. It's just and then after that, they get Winnipeg. They've moved into the number 1 defensive slots. It's just a really, really bad stretch. And I echo everything that Carm said. I think I'm looking at this game as maybe a same game parlay. And Carmine, you talked about taking the Blackhawks under their team total. I would start with just moving their team total to 3.5, taking the under on that one. And taking the Devils over 2.5 on their team total. I think they can get to 3. And then I would take Heischer to have a point. I just expect a lot of goals from the Devils. He has a point in 3 straight games, 14 out of his last 21 games. So, all signs point to the Devils taking care of business here against the Blackhawks. So you'd have to be quite the contrarian player to try and find a way to bet on this Blackhawks team. So there's a lot of ways to do it. Carm, I agree completely with team total. I think there's a lot of options in the same game parlay markets for this game.
Yeah, this is a tough one. 10 straight road losses for the Chicago Blackhawks. Some teams that are younger or just in general not very good, they seem to win more on the road. I'd say San Jose has almost kind of been a better road team at certain parts of the season. But a team like Arizona, when they've gone through struggles, they've done way better in their 5,000 person arena. If you look at this team like Chicago, struggling a lot more on the road in comparison to at home. And guys, I was talking about this with someone yesterday. I got to go through this. This is already a struggling team. We know, well, I was going to say we know what happened with the Corey Perry situation, but we really don't. We just know he's not on the team anymore. We know Taylor Hall is out for the season. Tyler Johnson is on the IR. Seth Jones is out. Athanasiou's out. Beauvillier's out. And Joey Anderson's out. So, if you have a really bad team in general, you at least want to see the injury bug be minimal. Because if one or two guys are out, it hurts the team in a big way. You throw in, Tyler Johnson. Taylor Hall was supposed to be a guy that played 82 games, was a leader for this team, and really helped things out. Like, people knew Bedard was going to be good, but it's kind of sad that, like, he is by far the best player on his team. Like, not even close. Like, nobody else on the team is even close, and this is his first year. The guy's, like, can't even drink alcohol in America, and he's leading his team in goals by, like, double digits, and seems like, he's just that dominant. Having said that, I'm going to go ahead and look towards the first period puck line at the -0.5, -125 here for this Devils team. And the fact is, guys, I know with these first period plays, we like to get plus money, but whether it was team total, whether it was the puck line, some way for me to try and bet on this Devils team. Many people out there know that they're a team I have a buy symbol around. So this is why I don't think it'll be a flat spot for them. I don't think that they're going to say, hey, Chicago's coming into town. We can afford to take a night off. A big win for them against the Capitals the other night. I don't think they're really going to take their foot off the gas pedal in this matchup. I agree with the under in this one, Carm, but I think that one thing that you hear me talk a lot on the show about team totals to the over. I would potentially look towards, if you like the under, just take unders on stuff to do with Chicago, because it would stink to have the under in this game and see the Devils put up a 5 or 6 spot, and so, maybe under on props for Chicago or under on team totals. Just my thoughts there. But my only play is going to be the Devils just to win the first period. 3-way line in the first period -$1.25 here, fellas.
Dude, I'm going to be the devil's advocate. And listen, I love you, brother, man. You know that. But I'm just going to toss out just a couple of ideas here, which is, and maybe just one. The Devils' first period has been such a pox all year long for this team. They have only won the first period twice at home the whole season. That was against the Buffalo Sabres, where they put a beating on them, scored 4 goals in like a, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 minute span. And I believe against the Flyers, where they had the lead after 20. Every other game they've been tied or trailing at the end of the first period. So it's not a play I like, but it is the Chicago Blackhawks. They are absolutely abysmal on the road, but they're a weird team. Every once in a while, they pop up with a game that you're like, how did they win this one? They beat the Winnipeg Jets. And then before that, they beat the Colorado Avalanche. And you're like, what is wrong with this team? You're supposed to lose these games, and they don't.
Yeah.
But I will be hoping that your Jersey first period play hits. I'm just being the devil's advocate here. Hey, devil's advocate. Look at that. I tied it all together.
So what it sounds like to me really is you're saying that I'm making a bold play. I'm being a contrarian. I love it. I mean, it's a Friday. Yes. It's Freaky Friday in the NHL. Let's get a blowout. Let's get like 3-1 after the first period. How about that?
Yeah, man, dude, you're a triple espresso living in a decaf world. Yeah, that's a bold play, my friend. So
I'll tell you, there's more than just decaf in this mug right now. It's definitely, I'm feeling like it's Friday. That's for sure. Andy, we got Carolina and we have Washington. Carolina playing some great hockey right now. Washington, a team that surprised some people, went through a pretty good run. They've kind of fallen off a bit here. What did you find in this game overall? Muted.
Well, when I'm looking at the
5%.
Hurricane,
He just gave out his 5%. You missed it, guys.
Yep. Yeah, sorry guys, I was muted. Gave out my 5%. Carm, what do you got for this one? No, I just it's teetering on being a little bit juicy. It's -150 right now, but I'll go with Michael Bunting over 1.5 shots on goal. So I mean, he's had 6 in his last 2 games. gone over in 8 out of 9 games, and this is a Capitals team that allows 31 shots on goal. That's 19th worst in this one. My best bet is a player prop in this game, so I'll save it for the best bet part. But I don't know if it moves past minus 150. I think I don't know. I mean, not only is he going over 1.5, he's obliterating it in some of these games. There's 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. So I think they're going to be firing away at Washington. So if it gets to minus 160, probably lay off. But right now at minus 150, I think it might be worth a sprinkle.
Hey, those prices, if they hit, doesn't matter. You just gotta cash it. It doesn't matter about these prices you're laying if it's a good wager. Is there anything that stuck out to you in this one, Carm?
Yeah, the Canes are on a roll, Andrew. I said it before they started this win streak of 4 games, and I will say it again. The Canes are going on a roll. Listen, this is the end of this road trip for them, a 3-game road trip in which, with any luck, they will win again tonight, make it 5 in a row. Then they head home for 6 games, and there's some winnable games on those. They could easily go 6-0. They got a couple of tough teams coming in, but they could easily go 6-0. And before you know it, the Canes could be up or near the top of the Metro, somewhere that I think they belong. This team is playing extremely well right now. The game, ultra impressive. They go into New York and laid a beat down on the Rangers, which is why I thought the Rangers would bounce back in a big way last night. The game against the Leafs, they go into Toronto and beat the Leafs as well too. They're just playing extremely well right now. It's tough to lay the number. If you like laying 170s or whatever, you can. You can take a different approach to it, and you can sort of split your bet in half and take the money line, but also take the puck line. You're essentially turning it into like a -1 type of line. The puck line on this game is Carolina -1.5 plus 150-ish, I believe, on the WagerTalk live lines that I'm seeing right now. And listen, the Caps have played well this season. I get it, but let's look at their last 6 games. Absent of scoring 4 goals against the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first period in a game where the Pens came out flat, they've done nothing in the other games. They are 1-5. They win that game 4-3. They lost a couple 5-1 games, a 6-3 game, losing by a couple goals to the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers. Carolina. I'm thinking football already. The Carolina Hurricanes is something that could easily happen. Of course, it could happen, and you have to remember there's a bit of revenge here because Washington did go into Carolina and beat them 2-1. That game went to a shootout. Canes will always remember when they lose to a fellow Metro Division rival, and they're going to want to end this road trip. Brindamore's going to make sure that they don't come out flat, that they're going to play well. So you can even take that first period with Carolina, look for them to start strong, lay the half, and you're going to likely get plus money on that play as well too. So that's where I'm leaning here. I'm in fade Washington zone right now.
I like it. And the fact that they actually went pretty strong for maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks, people kind of were getting that false hope with them. And I'll continue to say this. You guys hear me talk about depth all the time here on Puck Time. But if you like Washington, guys, just take their player props on their top guys. Tom Wilson, Ovechkin, some of these guys, they are not winning games unless their best players, score the goals. Like there has not been one game where like Washington does well when a fourth liner scored a goal. They just pretty much top heavy guys score or they don't do very well. This is probably my favorite total play of the night. Actually, I like the under in this one. Look at Washington over the last month. Expected goals for, all right? This is the list from the bottom. We got the Blackhawks expected, the Ducks expected, Bruins not as expected, Flyers and Capitals. This team is not creating a lot of chances, being 5th from the bottom as far as expected goals for. Like I said, even in some of these games where they're playing well, that game against Pittsburgh where they scored 4 goals, it was some poor goaltending, some bad defense in that game in the first period. There will be some urgency for this Washington team after their last game against the Devils to play better defensively. And even though Carolina has been scoring some goals recently, I still feel like their identity as a whole is a grinded out, hard checking team that has no issue winning low scoring games. So we're seeing 6 here as the total. I like the under, expecting a real big defensive battle in this one. And goaltending still remains pretty strong for this Capitals team overall, I'd say. So until I see it slip several games in a row, I'll have some faith in them, their goaltenders, to keep them in games. And Carolina, based on the numbers we've seen from the Capitals offensively, this could be a good game for their goaltending to look pretty good as well. So I'll take the under 6 in this one, hoping for a Friday night game with not much going on, guys. Take the under 6 Canes and Capitals. Guys, please, if you enjoy this video, if you enjoy watching Puck Time throughout the week, hit the like button on this video. Also subscribe to our channel. It really does help us out. Also, comment below what you're betting on for tonight. Everybody thinks it's fun to ask for these comments on like a 13-game slate. I kind of like asking for comments on a 3-game slate. Let us know what you like over these couple games. Andy and I, with our prop show, used to get more comments on our Monday night show than our show about the entire weekend. So just let us know what you like tonight, prop sides or totals. We really do appreciate that. And if you are a new customer to WagerTalk, 15% off anything with your first purchase. Back to you, Carm, for your thoughts on the most riveting matchup of the week, probably. Well, no, I don't think any game involving the Ducks is a big game, but Winnipeg Jets, Anaheim Ducks. What do you think in this one?
You can look at player props here if you want. The Anaheim Ducks, they allowed 57 shots on goal to the Leafs the other night. A lot of Ducks fans and their social media account are upset because apparently in Toronto, the Toronto Sun, which is one of the 2 local papers here, put Leafs win in OT against nameless goalie or something like that. They couldn't even call Dostal or whatever. They called him a no-name goalie or something like that. It's such a stupid comment from such a stupid newspaper. But with that said, Andrew, this is the dad's trip. We've talked about it before. It's not a betting angle, but the team plays well in front of their dads. It's not only dad's trip, it's also the mentor's trip. So the thing with the Winnipeg Jets is for the last 3 or 4 years, especially because of like COVID or whatever, these trips got canceled for their dads. So now the mentors, they have 30 plus different coaches. Some of the players brought their junior coaches as well too on this trip. So there's dads, there's coaches, and they're following them through the game that they played last night in San Jose to this game here in Anaheim, and then on the weekend in Arizona. So they always want to play well in front of their team, and they squeak one out in San Jose. They're on the second of a back-to-back, but I don't mind the goaltending change for the Jets. They're such a good team right now that it's just hard to go against them. They're just a good team. They play the same type of game night in and night out. And this is just not a very good Ducks team. I get it. This Ducks team has some talent, but they're also missing some players as well too. Carlson's still out. Troy Terry's out. Gudis is illness. Johnson, Strome, players out. Again, we mentioned when you've just got like the Vegas Golden Knights. I mentioned yesterday, when you're missing 3 or 4 guys, the lineup becomes so unbalanced. You got guys playing on lines. They can skate in the morning as much as they want in practice, but in game conditions, it's so much different. And I just think this is one of the ones where you take Winnipeg. If the line is too high, you can even look at the puck line or do what I said, split the money line along with the puck line, and you bring it down to almost like a -1 type of bet, or take them in regulation. But I say Winnipeg backs up last night's win with a bigger win tonight. And I'm going to be looking at some player props for my clients as well, too. I've already got one loaded. Andy, what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I don't know. This Ducks team, I take these players to not have a point. And I've come to the conclusion that people say unders are not very exciting or not very fun to watch. I'm going the opposite direction. I am having so much fun watching these players to not have a point. And it's a bet that you make, and you have to watch the entire game. And I think this is a great one for the Ducks to not have a point in this one. The problem is you got to narrow it down. Like who are we looking at to not have a point? And I'm going to go with Cam Fowler. No points in the last three. And the last three games that he's had a point, the Ducks have scored 4 or more goals, and I don't see that happening tonight. So I like the Ducks team total under. It's number one defensive team. There's just a lot of guys you can take to not have a point, but I'll settle on Cam Fowler. Like I said, no points in his last three, and it seems like anytime he gets a point, he needs the Ducks to be scoring quite a bit. So that's going to be the one player prop. I'll narrow it down. But if you really think this Anaheim team is going to get smoked, like you could same game parlay a couple of these Anaheim Duck players to not have a point. And if they get shut out or they only score 1 goal, you're looking at a really nice plus money same game parlay.
I love it, Andy. You're a bigger man than me for being able to watch games you have unders on. I try and stay away from anything I have an under on. It's kind of like for me when I have an over in a UFC fight and they're just absolutely brawling. It's hard to watch because anybody could get knocked out at any single moment. So it's tough. And Carmine, I know you mentioned before, man, betting on those unders can be tough to watch. It's a lot more fun to watch an over that you're involved in. You mentioned it's a good prop game, Carm, and Andy said he likes the unders. I like Mason McTavish to not have a point. It's minus 130. So he's a centerman, younger centerman for this Ducks team. Obviously, like I talked about a few moments ago when I mentioned the Capitals, this Ducks team is second last in expected goals for over the last month. So if they're second last in expected goals for, as Andy mentioned, they're certainly a good team to look towards unders on. But McTavish, I was betting his under on shots on goal for a while, under 2.5. And I kept an eye on that. Now it's minus 175. So I just can't bet it anymore. So I've decided, okay, well, what else does McTavish not do very well? Well, the team isn't scoring. He's not scoring. His under half a point is minus 130. So that's what really stuck out to me in this one in particular. The biggest question that we ask ourselves in these games is there a such thing as a flat spot? But to me, the flat spot for Winnipeg would have been against San Jose, and they still won that one 2-1. So, I said this before, and I know this is a betting show, not a hockey in general show, but people will disagree with me out there. People think, I'm a Leafs hater, I'm an Edmonton guy, whatever. Vancouver's good. The Winnipeg Jets are the best Canadian team, in my opinion. I think if you want a future to get in on right now, 18-1 at most books, you can jump in on the Winnipeg Jets. I feel like if Connor Hellebuck, their goaltender, played on any other Canadian team, Montreal especially, Toronto, Edmonton, he would get so much more credit. But because he plays for Winnipeg, nobody talks about him. This is a good team. So I'll use part of my segment here to recommend a future to you guys. 18-1, Winnipeg Jets to win the Stanley Cup. They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be potentially in the second round. If you can enter in a good spot, I know the West is a crazy, crazy conference, but at 18-1, I think it's worth it. Carm, what do you think about that statement? Winnipeg, the best Canadian team.
It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how that one works out. But it's not bad. You know what I mean? You're getting double digits on it. It's always something that if you wanted to, they make the playoffs, you can find an opportunity, especially if they win the first round, that you can hedge out and lock in a small profit, or at least buy back your original wager while lowering your 18 down to like 16 or 15-1. So it's not bad. The reason why I said, I'm going to look at some props in this is I like to, obviously look at props when you're playing a team that allows a lot of shots on goal. And I talked about Anaheim. They're top 6. I think they're 6th overall in most shots allowed per game at just over 32 shots per game. And they're coming off a game in which the Leafs had 57 shots on goal. And if you looked at it, when you're looking at this, sometimes you want to look at the guys on the second line, because those first line guys are always going to be juiced. The Leafs first line had, I believe, 24 of the 57 shots on goal. The second line had 16 shots on goal. So just the forwards from the top 2 lines accounted for 40 of the 57 shots. And you factor in the third and fourth lines, the D-men as well too. So you can find usually some good opportunities on those second line guys just because of the matchups that you have. But yeah, San Jose, teams like San Jose, Montreal Canadiens, New York Islanders, Anaheim Ducks, teams that allow a lot of shots on goal, I will look at the opposing team's players to see if I can find some low vig opportunities.
Well, Andy, I got to ask you about that with player props because we have a little bit of time. We'll get to Carmine's segment in a second with 6 and 60. But when you're betting these not to score props, I know you've taught me to continue betting on a guy. Don't go away after he loses once for you. But are you betting kind of when you look at the matchup more so, like when they're playing a good defensive team, you look to bet against some of these guys, or you're more so just saying this guy sucks right now, and I'm going to keep betting him until he gets better?
You're muted.
You weren't
Andy's
muted. You
lost
were just
his
a little
voice.
bit quiet. You were just a little bit quiet. I don't know if it was your mixer or something. Okay. There we go, Andy.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, I, I used to just look at the players, and if they were sucking, then you would just take them. But I really look at the matchups now because you can get better prices on that. So I'll look at teams that are slumping, like the Ducks are a great one. You're getting some really good prices at like minus 135, which is a great price to not have a point. So you get these teams that aren't putting up very many goals. It just limits the opportunity. Now, if you have a guy that's sucking and he's playing, the San Jose Sharks or one of these teams, then you lay off because the worst thing is you gotta you gotta prop on a guy and all of a sudden you look and the game's 6-1. You're like, oh god, surely this guy's got an assist. But my best bet is on a guy who scored points last game, but I'm going to come right back to him because he didn't score in the previous 10 games. So yeah, rinse and repeat. We cashed on Shen for St. Louis last night. That's a guy I just keep going back to. He's not getting points in some of these games, so I kind of have a short list of multiple guys that I just pick every night. Like I'm 9-3 in my last 12 picks, and I would say I probably used 3 or 4 guys. So it's not different players every night. It's just the same couple guys, and then you build up that 9-3 record, and hopefully in a month, this record's like 20-6 or something like that. So yeah, ride the same guys as long as you get the good matchups.
I find myself doing that in the NFL quite a bit. I find a certain guy that I like. Like I didn't bet on Tyler Algier all season, and then I bet on him 3 straight weeks in a row. Like it works. You hit one, and you want to go back to the well with it again. Carm, speaking of NFL, you've had an outstanding NFL season. I'm sure you'll have some plays going forward this weekend. We've got a 6 and 60 segment to get to. Certainly a jam-packed slate for the Saturday NHL. What do you have for us, man?
We have some tea here just before I get going to clear the throat before we start that clock. But last week of the NFL season, still number 1 at WagerTalk. So let's see if we can keep that going through week 18. 2 plays currently loaded and a couple more coming for Saturday and Sunday as we look to close it off. And then an NHL play for tomorrow night, which will likely be a 5% play that I've had circled for about a week. I'm ready for this 6 and 60, guys. We are last week. Our good brother, Disbanded Brotherhood, who left a little dot as a comment, which always helps our analytics. We love you, man. Hit that like button, guys, while you're at it. We dedicated the 6 and 60 to him. We win 4 and 2. This week, we're going to dedicate the 6 and 60 to one of our regulars in the chat, Russell Deck. Let's see if we can one up and go 5 and 1 at least this weekend. So, Dan, anytime you're ready, hit that clock. All right, Boston, Tampa Bay. We're going to take the Bruins minus 165. Bruins off a home loss to Pittsburgh last night. They've only lost once back-to-back games at home this season. Let's take the Bruins to bounce back. Columbus and Mini. We're going to take the under here. The Wild are struggling to find goals. Columbus have gone 5 and 2 to the under their last 7, so under 6. Devils and the Canucks over 6.5. Two of the top 4 teams as far as overs go. 23, 12 and 1. For New Jersey, 22, 14 and 2 for Vancouver, over 6.5. San Jose and Toronto, Leafs 2-0 on this trip. Sharks 0 and 10, their last 10. Leafs puck line minus 1.5. Devils and Dallas and Nashville, 11 straight overs for Dallas. We're going to go for 12 at home, over 6.5. Vegas and the Islanders under 6. Vegas struggling to score goals. Islanders can lock it down under 6. That's your 6 and 60 with a little time to spare.
That might be your fastest one yet. That might be the quickest one yet.
Yeah.
I love that Dallas over, man. The Dallas overs have been fun to watch. I told you before, it feels like just 2 years ago, every game was finishing 2-1 or 3-1 with this Dallas team. They're fun to watch now.
You know, Andrew, like we talked about it yesterday, it was a 10-0 run going into last night's game, and they were 15-4 at home to the over, and then that game goes easily over the total last night, 5-4 in OT, and now 11 straight overs for Dallas at home, and 16-4. It's hard to ignore those numbers. At some point, they're going to throw in one of those 2-1 classic Dallas type games, but wouldn't you continue to ride a streak that is so profitable? The ROI on it is absolutely insane if you're betting Dallas overs at home. Andy, putting the props aside, wouldn't you ride if you had a prop that is 16-4? Would you say, okay, I'm not going to take it this time because it's probably going to stay under? No, you would take it.
Yeah, you got to keep betting it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would probably take it at some point. You got to jump off. One of my new favorite quotes that I keep using now is in the movie American Gangster. At the end, when Frank is talking to the big drug dealer in Asia, and the guy says, "Quitting while you're ahead is not the same as quitting," and it's so true. Like you want to get off of the streaks just before they start. They start to lose, and so one thing that really tells me that a streak's coming to an end is when the books adjust the line. As soon as the books adjust the line, that's when I get off of it. So like if you're writing, I don't know, say a shots on goal that's like at 1.5 and you're writing it and you're writing it and you're writing it and all of a sudden it jumps to 2.5, that's your signal to jump off. But if the line is like at minus 125 and then all of a sudden one day it's minus 160, that's your signal to jump off. But as long as the parameters are the same, yeah, ride that thing till you get to 16-4, and then the books will do the work for you. They'll tell you when it's time to jump off because as soon as they make that line movement, all the value's gone.
Yeah, when they change the odds, you're right. When things move or they go from a 2.5 to a 3.5 with shots on goal, that's when you're hitting the under. Andy, I have to say, and I'm sure you won't mind me saying this because you put a video of it last summer. When you said that quote, which I do like, it reminded me of me and you at the roulette table together. You fit like I was playing blackjack and you were like talking with somebody else, go to the roulette table. You're like 1-0, baby, 1-0. Come over for the fist bumps. You're like, that's all I need at the roulette table. Like, you're like, I don't know why those guys are sitting there for an hour. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah, I sat at the roulette table for 42 seconds, made my money, I'm out. What a great return on investment. Thank you very much. Tip the dealer. I'm out of here.
Love it. You gotta love it.
It's like what's his name? The great investor, Warren Buffett. He says, let me make money and get out and let somebody else worry about the stock now. And this is why the guy's a billionaire, right? So it's make my money and get out. I'm perfectly fine with that. I do similar with my stocks when I think I've made enough or they've made me money. I will just get out, cash out, and move on to the next investment.
Yeah, don't want to stay in too long. And that describes Andy at the roulette table. Andy, you've had a great run over not just the last few months, but past year or so. So you have a coupon code for us, a promo deal that's for a year-long pass. We always talk about long-term. The funny thing is I have a promo code for 3 days to give out right after you. But so the exact opposites. But what's the promo code for you? What do you have going this weekend? And what's your best bet for us?
It's just a mere 362 days longer than yours, Andrew. It's just barely over yours. So yeah, it's 365 days. You can use the promo code LANG50, LANG50. We finished 2023 up 88 units. So really, really happy with that. So it's well worth the investment. It's basically half price right now. Instant discount down to $9.99. It includes all sports, all percentages. We have a 5% NFL play that is up, along with a 4% NFL play that's attached to it. You'll get all of our NHL plays for the rest of the season, obviously. Golf is in full swing, no pun intended there. Soccer, tennis, and MLB, all those plays included. So if you want to get a full year's worth of plays at half price, just go to Andy Lang at WagerTalk.com.
And your best bet?
Well, we mentioned him, and this was a play that I lost on last game, but we hit on him a couple games before, and that's Kuznetsov for the Washington Capitals to not have a point. This was a guy that went 10 games in a row without a point. He had 2 last game against New Jersey. What was weird was they got stomped. They got beat 6-3, but he happened to have 2 points in that game. Well, I'm not abandoning it. It's still at minus 135, and we're up betting against him, and I'm going to keep betting against him. So he has 13 points this season, but only in 10 games. He's had several games where he gets 2 points here. And, Carm did a good job talking about the Hurricanes. They've allowed 8 goals total in their last 4 games. So I don't expect a high-scoring game. This is a guy I'm going to keep riding to not have a point at minus 135. I believe I'm either 3-1 or 2-1 betting against him. But I'm going to try and ride this for a few more games. I'd love to get to like a 8-2 or 9-2 streak with this guy before I jump off it in the line move. So Kuznetsov not getting involved a whole lot. The goal that he had last game was very fluky. He was like late getting back on defense. They had a turnover and Ovechkin hit him for like kind of a breakaway. It was kind of one of those like, yeah, you scored, but you were totally out of position. You totally let your team hang out to dry on that transition. So I've watched him quite a bit. He's not getting a whole lot done, so I'll take him to not have a point.
All right, let's hope Kuznetsov has the worst game of his career tonight. We'll go towards the under on Kuznetsov. I've got one bet up for NHL tonight and prop pack in the NFL, one side play in the NFL as well for this weekend, guys. Off a 3-1 day yesterday in the NHL. Did also hit the free play video I had up at WagerTalk, but unfortunately, the 5% play did lose, so I did want to be transparent about that. But guys, I'm seeing the board well right now. It's frustrating when you finish 3-1 on the night and you barely make profit. But to me, it's a nice sign that I'm seeing things right now. I have a nice promo code 30off3. That's 30off3. We'll take $30 off a 3-day pass, which is great to get you the entire weekend. Everything I'm betting for this weekend, a massive, massive hockey slate, some good spots in the NFL, even though it's kind of a weird week to make some money. So, guys, 30 off 3 for a great deal on that 3-day all access. My best bet, I'll go with Seth Jarvis from the Carolina Hurricanes, up and over 2.5 shots on goal, getting a great price on this one. And he's gone over this number in 4 of his last 5 games. Jarvis is like the Energizer Bunny for this Hurricanes team. He brings so much energy. He's constantly shooting the puck. He's the consistent shooter on his team. He's got guys feeding him the puck. He's out there sometimes on the special teams with the power play as well. And this Capitals team is bottom 10 in shots on goal allowed per game. I feel like the Capitals have relied heavily on their goaltending. They should be a lot higher in his goals allowed per game if it wasn't for their goaltending, but their shots allowed per game is really high. So I'll go with Seth Jarvis over 2.5 shots on goal from the Carolina Hurricanes. Carm, over to you.
All right, my screen is finally working. You guys all disappeared on my screen, which is a bad thing because I love looking at you guys and that great hair that you have, man. I'm jealous. Anyways, with that said, yeah, it's the promo part of the show. So pick up a 3-day all access, get all plays Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. NHL today for me, NHL soccer and football tomorrow, and then of course the same thing on Sunday. There is one there is one package where we've WagerTalk and the office have put together a special NFL and NHL right through the Super Bowl. You get every single NHL play, every single football play. Regular 358, it's 229. So that's a great deal in itself as well too. My show free play. I think we are going for I'm going for a perfect 4-0. I don't think on this show we've lost one yet this week, Andrew. I think we are a perfect 12-0 going into tonight, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm taking the Chicago team total under 2.5. I'm hoping for a bit of a Chicago blackout tonight where the Devils spank them 4-1, 5-1, send them home off this road trip, and we cash another bet. So Chicago team total under 2.5 as your show best bet, guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in each and every day, hitting that like button, the comments, not only in the live comments, the comments in the video when it's posted up later. Fantastic. Our Pucksters are the best of all the shows. I'm partial to that, Andrew, and I'll throw it back to you.
A great run with these best bets, man. Let's close off the week on a great note. It's awesome when we can come together and not one of us, but both of us having a lot of success with our best bets. Thank you guys so much for being with us. Make sure to check out those 3-day passes or the year-long passes. Andy has that great promo code going. But guys, WagerTalk today coming up at 12 o'clock Eastern time. Thank you for being here with us on Puck Time. We'll see you on Monday.